Hey guys, is it okay if we talk for just a few moments as I share with you a quick message about pleasing God? Three things to pleasing God or to receiving blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings. It sounds like something that you would want in your life, maybe in your family, in your career, in your finances. Three things to being blessed when you're going into the storm and being blessed when you come out of the storm. To receiving favor on top of his love and his obligation to take care of and to provide us the things that we need. Like a parent provides us and they're almost obligated to do certain things for us, but then there's favor on top of that. Three things to receiving eternal peace and freedom when our days are over in this earth. Many of us call that salvation. See, it's just like it is with our natural parents or our biological parents in this physical world. There are things that they do for us just because they're obligated. And then there are things that we do to please them. And in response to what we do for them, they do for us. Or as my mother would often tell me, you can do as I say, or you can do it your own way and suffer the pain and the consequences of not aligning with what I know to be best for you. And I've said that to my children as well. You can do what you want to do, but be prepared for the consequences that you're going to suffer as a result. So I just wish someone could have convinced me when I was younger, when I thought that my will and my way was superior to God and what he knew that was best for me. See, I wouldn't have hurt myself so much, nor would I have hurt those that I love dearly. But let's talk about it. Three things to pleasing God. And the first thing to pleasing God is acquiring a knowledge and an understanding of him. In all things, get wisdom, get knowledge, get understanding. And not as a religious God of some. No, you don't want us to know him as just a religious God of some. See, because this only causes us to fight one another, trying to prove that our religious God is more superior or higher than someone else's God. No, learning and knowing of him beyond names and religions as our Father, the creator of all humans, irrespective of the names that we call him or the different ways that we choose to worship him or choose not to worship him. It's realizing and knowing that he loves us all, even when he doesn't always like everything that we do. See, have you ever not liked your children? Sometimes because of some of the things that they may have did or said. So I know on many of occasions, I've not been liked, but I've been loved. My mother didn't always like what I did, but she always loved me. And I've had moments when I didn't particularly like my children, but I've always loved them. And God wants us to have this knowledge of him. He wants us to possess this understanding that just as it is with our children, it is with him. And he also wants us to know that he's unchanged by the names that we use to refer to him. He wants us to get past having to be fed milk so that we're now able to digest meat. And lastly, as it relates to what he wants us to know about him, he wants us to know him as the embodiment or the source of universal and timeless good in a world of good and evil. And this to draw us from hiding behind our labels, thinking that he doesn't see us beyond our religious coverings. He wants us to know him the way that he knows us, which is as his children that are either committed to good or evil. And the second thing that he wants us to know about pleasing him is to be appreciative and to honor him for what he does for us. I mean, think about it. How do you feel when you go out of your way for your kids and they look at you like, is this all? Is this all you have to offer? No thanks, no appreciation. Not even the recognition that you didn't have to give them what you gave them. Or for some of us, we've had situations where we've given things to our spouses and they overlooked it as if we hadn't done anything. And I know for myself, I've been on the both sides of the spectrum. There's been things that have been given to me that I didn't show the type of appreciation that said that I honor what you've done. I appreciate you taking the time out to do that. But if we're going to please God, it's about us being thankful for the gift of life that he gives us every second of every day. It's about us being grateful that the obstacles and the haters that came to destroy us, they couldn't. They didn't have the power nor the permission to destroy us. They came and they fought hard, but it was almost as if he said about Job, you can touch his body, you can touch his relationship, you can even touch his money. Maybe you can touch his mind, but you can't kill him. It touched us, but it didn't destroy us. It's about us celebrating our health, our families, and the fact that we're in our right minds. He says, just appreciate and honor me for what I do. It's about us saying to ourselves, as we say to God, thanks that I don't have to be, or I don't have to remain the person that I was when I didn't know any better, when I didn't care about living my life to honor you. And it's about forgiving ourselves as we ask God to forgive us. See, I know for me, I've been like Paul. I was the chiefest of sinners. And it took a miracle for him to have chosen me, for him to have created me for such a task as reviving, renewing, and restoring humanity back to him. That I might be given the task of uniting us beyond our labels and establishing his kingdom in the earth. See, if you knew me, you would celebrate with me that I get to be an example that God will use anybody to do amazing things in the earth to bring him glory. Yes, I have a past, and it ain't so pretty. But the third thing that God wants us to know as it relates to pleasing him is about us aligning with his human expectations of us. And this begins with the understanding that he sent us, he created us to establish his kingdom, which isn't the same as propping our religious organizations up to dominate or to be superior over others. Because when we prop our religions up, all that does is keeps us fighting one another instead of fighting the evils of greed, hatred, racism, sexism, xenophobia, and religious intolerance. See, it's about propping up the religion of good, universal good, as defined by universal and timeless principles and characteristics of good. See, pleasing God is about aligning our thoughts, our words, and our actions with his essence. And as I told you earlier, that he is the source of universal and timeless good in a world of good and evil. And so it's about us aligning our thoughts, our words, and our actions with the good that we already know to do. See, many of us use the excuse that I just didn't know to do that. Well, he said, begin by aligning with the things that we already know to do that's good. You don't have to worry about the things that you don't know. Just do the things that you do know. It's about aligning with his expectations that we be fruitful and multiply, or in layman's terms, that we bear the type of seeds that are capable of producing fruits or good outcomes that benefit more than just ourselves, more than just our families or our tribes. See, pleasing God is about standing up for right and not calling good evil, and vice versa, for money, for fame, for power, or for favor. It's about practicing self-love and self-care. Being good to yourself. It's also about us being good to each other, or being our brothers and sisters' keepers, doing the good unto others that we want done unto us, taking care of each other instead of killing one another. He says to be pleasing unto him. We do this by being good stewards of this one earth that we all get to and have to inhabit as humans. He says, leave it better than we found it when we was born into this earth. And lastly, he expects us to model for the youngest of those among us how to harmoniously coexist in a diverse world. And I teach all this in a course that goes into much more depth that helps us to become one with God in establishing his kingdom in the earth. that we get to wake up, wash ourselves off, and be restored to God without the need of covering. That helps us to live lives of peace, joy, purpose, success, and satisfaction. And so for more information on the classes that I teach or any upcoming workshops that we've got planned, contact me on either one of my social media accounts. And they're listed in the direction or in the descriptions, I'm sorry. But with that, I'm done. Told you it would be quick. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Carlos. I'm a spiritual teacher and personal development coach. I love you. Peace and blessings be upon you, your family, and everything that you touch. And until next time, goodbye.